I am Ketki Nayak, Assistant Professor with Parul Institute of Business Administration. I welcome you all to this wonderful webinar on exploring different avenues of investments. To begin with, let me introduce our guest of honor, Mr. Vishal Kishnani. We are having our guest speaker today, Mr. Vishal Kishnani sir, with us to take us through on various methods and instruments of investments available in the market. In today's scenario, there are a lot of investment methods which are available. So, sir will will take us through the various methods which are available in the market. And Mr. Kishnani is currently serving as a national sales head at Future Generali India Life Insurance Company Limited and managing direct sales retail distribution vertical across India. He is having a total work experience of more than 16 years in the sectors like IT, consumer durable, corporate merchandise, and insurance. In insurance, Sir has served companies like ICICI Prudential Life Insurance Company, Bharti Exa Life, and currently Sir is working with Future Generali India Life. Sir has strong foothold and experience of building sustainable sales distribution in various territories across India, right from startup, and has built a scalable, profitable distribution model for the company. Having managed a strong sales force across India with a proven track record in sales and distribution, Mr. Vishal Kishnani has earned accolades and top awards from CEOs, managing directors, and group chairmen of various companies mentioned above. So, today, we are glad to have him on this webinar. Where he will take our students through various shades of investments instruments available in the market. Learnings from this webinar, we believe, that will serve as a stepping stone for our students to know more about how actual financial investment market works. So this will help us to understand and our students to gain the knowledge about various financial and investment markets working. So once again, I welcome Sir, Mr. Vishal Kishnani to start the webinar. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ketki. Thanks a lot for the warm welcome and introduction. I am glad that I have been associated today for this webinar with Parul University and would like to have some interaction with the academicians and the students to discuss more on avenues of investments. While during the course of this webinar, we would touch upon the practical methods of investments available in the market, how people or clients go about it, and what are the various instruments available in the practical financial world in an open market. With today's webinar, I am quite sure the students who are interested in looking into financial services, either as well, would help them to know and to gain the practical knowledge of the industry at large. Having said that, let me move forward with this presentation. I would like to start this presentation with a small quiz. So I would like to start with the end first. Generally, the quiz times happens at the end. I would like to touch upon this in the beginning. So we are starting with the end first. Ketki, just let me know if we have an interactive session over here.
Sir, I can interact with you. Like students won't be able to like.
Okay, sure. Are they were able to type some post over the chat?
Sir, they will be able to message me on the WhatsApp group, sir.
Great. Okay. So the quiz time we are beginning. It's a small quiz I want to ask everyone. So let's begin with this. So at your own desk, I want everyone to identify this place. What is this place? You can message in the WhatsApp group that Ketki is part of. We'll give 30 seconds.
Okay.
We'll give 30 seconds, 30 to 45 seconds to people to respond. The whole idea is to have a very engaging webinar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Kitki, have you started getting any response?
Sir, actually, it is going live, so it will take some time, 1 or 2 minutes, for the students to respond.
Fair enough. I think we should hold on to those
Yes, sir.
minutes. Yeah,
Yes,
because let's make this very interactive and engaging session for our students.
Yes, sir.
This is a very well-known.
Yes, sir.
There's some hinters and pointers. This is a very well-known place.
Wall of China.
Sir, students have answered. Yes, it is. Sir, students have answered. It is the Great Wall of China.
It is the Great Wall of China. Okay.
Yes, many students have answered.
Okay. Any other answers apart from the Great Wall of China?
No, sir. No, not yet, sir.
So, students, let's move on to the next quiz slide. Keep your phones ready with you, and no brownie points for this, but I would like to see the responses. Identify the person.
Sir, your change slide is not yet visible. Just a second. Yes, sir. Now it is visible.
Okay.
So, sir, the moment you are changing slide, after some 5 seconds, it is visible.
So there's a time lag. Yeah. So
yes,
there could be a time lag of 5-6 seconds.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now it is visible, sir. So the answer I am receiving is Maharana Pratap.
Okay. Maharana Pratap.
One more answer.
I think someone should get a brownie point if someone can identify this person correctly.
Sir, one of the answer I have received is Alexander.
Alexander.
Yes. Okay. Sir. And Maharana Pratap is the most common answer which I am getting. Okay. Maharana Pratap with Chetak.
Maharana Pratap with Chetak. Okay.
Chetak. And one of the answer is Alexander.
The tagline is identify the person, not the animal.
Yes, sir.
So, two options have come, two answers have come. One is Maharana Pratap and Alexander.
Yes, sir.
Should we move forward to the next slide?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, identify this place. I think someone who would be very travel enthusiastic should be able to identify this place.
Yes, sir. Now it's visible. Yes, let's see the answers. Now it's visible, sir.
Okay.
So, identify this place. Sir, answers I am getting is Mauritius. Another answer I have got is Maldives.
Maldives.
Pacific Ocean.
Pacific Ocean. Okay. This is a very famous place. It's just a mental exercise that people have to do. Some gray cells they have to activate.
Sir, the most common answer I am receiving is Maldives.
Maldives. Yes. Okay.
Dubai. Someone has read Dubai.
Why? Okay.
One of the student has written Arabian Sea.
Arabian Sea. Okay. Well, let me just re-emphasize the agenda of webinar is to understand various instruments of investments, and definitely not something with what we are going to ponder in tours and tourism.
Yes, sir.
But this is, yeah.
Sir, one answer I got is Marina Beach.
Marina Beach.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So the time has come to move forward and to reveal the answers of all the three slides. The slide number 1, which was shown in the first slide, was this the Good Wall of China?
Sir, it was the Great Wall of China.
Yes. So it's not the Good Wall of China. It is the Great Wall of China. Is it visible on the slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the answer is not the Good Wall of China, but yes, the correct answer is the Great Wall of China. Let's move to the next slide and see the
Sir,
answer.
just sir, I'll request you just to keep the PPT right now. Yeah, now it is visible on FB. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, sir. Yes, now.
Move forward. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
it is the Great Wall of China and not the Good Wall of China. We have come to the next slide.
Yes.
So answer is Alexander the
Great.
Good?
Great.
No. Yes. So it is not the Alexander the Good, but it is the Alexander the
Great.
right. So this is the answer. I think we had one person giving the correct answer. In the
Yes,
quiz.
sir. Yes, sir. 2-3 students answered it.
Right. Let's go to the next slide and see what the place was. The place was, sadly, no one gave the correct answer. The Good Barrier Reef, which is in Australia,
Okay.
but it is not the Good Barrier Reef. It is the
Great.
Great Barrier Reef. Right. So it was the Great Wall of China. It was the Alexander the Great and the Great Barrier Reef.
Yes, sir.
Now the point, I think people would have assumed and guessed that the intent of showing this or running this quiz is to specially ponder on the word great. And this is specifically for our students that I have kept it to understand that in your personal and in your professional life, no one remembers the good. Everyone remembers the great, right? And particularly in your professional life, once you complete your studies, your academia, once you move out into the world, you have to be a great professional. You have to be a great employer or employee. If you can be a great employer as well, an employee as well. So always strive hard to be a great, because people don't remember good. There are plenty of good, but only few great. The next question that will come in the minds of students would be this. I hope the slide is the next
Yes,
slide
sir.
is visible. So it is
Yes.
how to be great should be a question that comes to a lot of people. So if you want to be great, there is one which we call it ask principle. So with ask principle, we can definitely be great. Now, what is ask principle? Let me share. It is with the right attitude, with your right skills, and with your right knowledge. So students, if you really want to be great, you have to get into the right attitude, right skills and knowledge, and that too in the same particular order. It cannot be SAK or it cannot be KSA or KAS. It has to be attitude first, skills the second, and knowledge the third. And the reason for this order is that skills can be sharpened with practice, with consistency. You can sharpen your skills, you can sharpen your methods. Knowledge can be acquired with time, with learning. You can gain knowledge, but attitude comes from within. So the attitude ranks first in the order. So you all have to have a great attitude of learning. You have to have a great attitude towards the life, towards the circle that you circle around in your studies. And with the right attitude, definitely with this principle, all of you can move forward in life with great accomplishments. So this is my preamble for this webinar, and I'm sure students will definitely take some cues from it. Moving ahead further to the main agenda of the topic that we have, investment or invest. So in the next few minutes, we will talk about the methods of investing, how we should invest, or how generally the open public invest in the market, in the financial market. What are the methods that they choose to invest, and what are the medium that they invest. I would like that you should have a keen understanding into it, and if you have any questions, we can note it down for future reference. But before to talk about on methods of investing, we have to first understand why investing is important. So we know that a lot of your parents, your guardians, people around you who have a stable income, they start investing, or they may not like to invest. So there's a question that why investing is important. To answer this, we have a small graphical presentation which will let you know a major understanding of and importance of investments. Typically, there are two types of mindsets that people work with. These two mindsets are, there is certain set of people who, out of their disposable income, whatever they have, or earned income, they'll save very less and have a more expenditure out of their income, right? So people have tendency to do a lot of expenditure on various amenities that they like to go, and tend to generally save less. So this is one kind of a philosophy. This is more prevalent in the Western philosophy, where they are more secured by the social securities, and hence they are free on their purse strings. Wherein in Asian and particularly in Indian, this is slightly different. And what we generally observe around us is this, where people save more and expense less. India is one of the country where we have a huge saving. It's a country which is driven by a saving population. There are a lot of articles which comes around, and towards the age of retirement or towards the age of medical expenses, when real medical expenses come, India's have about 60% of their income saved in banks. So as an Indian, we have more tendency to save and have a less expenditure. Are this mindset correct? No, this is not. Both this mindset is not correct. What we have to do is we have to save. We have to do expenditure. There has to be certain expense, and then we have to invest. So this is a more balanced approach towards the earned or the disposable income that we should do. That we have to have a saving, we should have some expenditure, and most importantly, we should have an investment. Now, what is the difference between a saving and an investment? Well, the investment has to be as such where it takes care of our savings in the times to come. Okay. And also it takes care of our expenditure as well. So if we invest properly, if we invest into the right instruments, this will take care of our savings in the times to come when we require, and thereby any expenditure or future expense that comes would be taken care by our current investments, which means that the investment has to reap you something more than the inflation. I'm sure students of finance and as such commerce also should understand what the inflation is all about. So investment should reap you something more and beyond the current inflation rate. And then only it will help to offset any expense and create more avenues for future savings. So this is the typical reason why we should invest. Moving forward, now this is one of the most important slide out of the entire presentation that we have, and this is the core of the slide, I would say. So this talks about the investment pattern and the investment instruments available in the market. Now, as you see, and as you would have read also, that higher the risk, higher the return. Medium risk, medium return. Low risk, low return. Very low risk gives very low return. So these are 4 investment pattern quadrants, or I would say risk profiles of the instruments which are there. So we have classified the asset class. So what are the assets over here? There are various assets, and that we have bifurcated into 4 quadrants. Those assets which gives high returns will come into a high risk category. Assets which will give you a medium return will come into medium category, medium quadrant. Low risk will come into low quadrant, and the very low risk will come to very low. So what are the instruments available in the open market which gives a very high risk and high return, or which gives high return but also coupled with high risk as well? So there are few instruments, and see, there are basically more instruments available, but these ones which we have mentioned over here are the most sought after instruments available to the public at large, to the retail population. You and me, we all are into the retail population, and generally we go and we invest into these instruments. So we have equity mutual funds, we have direct equity, which is direct into the stock market, and then we have commodities. I would like to touch briefly upon the equity mutual funds, the direct equity and commodities, to understand into better. Generally, when you ask people or any layman about mutual fund, if you ask, just go and do this experiment as well. People can do in the family or with their friends. Just ask anyone that, do you invest into an equity mutual fund? People will say, yes, I do invest into mutual fund. Just ask them, which mutual fund do you invest in? The person will immediately say, I invest into SDFC, I invest into ICICI, I invest into Tata XYZ company. But these are the company name they are taking. They are not giving the names of the mutual fund that they invest. So in the open market, what practical things that what we see is that customers or the clients, they are not aware of into the fund. They don't understand what the equity mutual fund is all about. I'm sure all of you would have heard what mutual fund is what about, but how it functions. So a mutual fund is nothing but It is a aggregate. A mutual fund aggregates the funds of the public at large and create a big corpus of the fund. So, for example, if I am the fund manager of any company, let's say arbitrarily we say that there's a company which is known as ICICI. So, if I'm the fund manager of an ICICI, I will bring out a fund and I will put it to the public, and I will say, you give me the money and I will invest into the top A company or top 100 company or top 500 companies in the India in stock market, right? So I will collect the funds from the public. I will invest that money into only predetermined listed companies in that fund. So this is what about mutual. So there are 5,000 mutual funds available into the market in India, which is currently running in India and abroad, but particularly in India, there are more than 5,000 funds currently running. So what equity mutual fund? So there are different types of equity mutual fund. A fund manager may decide that, okay, I want to start a fund, an equity fund, which will invest only into AAA companies, only into companies which are A category companies, right? Big companies that have, large cap companies, what we say. A large cap company is one who has a turnover of more than, or market capitalization of more than 500 crores. So big companies, I will invest into it. One fund manager will come and say, okay, I will invest into a sector which is pharma. So whatever money that people will put into our organization, I will create a fund only for pharma sector. So once you will invest into a pharma mutual fund, the money will go only into those companies that is sector oriented to the pharmaceutical. Similarly, we have other sectors like FMCG, a banking fund, a transportation fund. We have small cap funds, we have large cap funds. So this is what the actual equity mutual fund is all about. So whenever you check with someone that which mutual fund they invest, ensure that the person is aware of, and you should be aware of, which fund the person is invested. It is not about the company, but into which fund, into which sector the fund is going. So this is what mutual fund is all about. And this is one of the most available and sought after investment instrument into the market. People generally invest into equity mutual funds a lot. It comes with high risk, but it comes with high return as well. Direct equity is the direct stock market. You can invest into any company, which is a very self-explanatory. You can invest into any company's equity. We have commodities. There are various commodities, grains, gold, silver. People invest into that through stock market. So there are e-commodities. There are physical commodities that we can invest. Again, it has very high returns, but it also have very high risk as well. So these are the quadrant 1 categories of instruments which gives good return, but coupled with the same risk. Then we come to the next quadrant, the second quadrant, which is the medium risk quadrant. Here there are hybrid mutual funds and corporate bonds. What is a hybrid mutual fund? Just like an equity fund, there's a hybrid mutual fund. A hybrid mutual fund is a mixture of various instruments, like a debt instrument plus an equity instrument. So a fund manager will decide, okay, if I am getting, say, for example, 1 lakh rupee from the market to invest, 50% I will invest into government bonds, sovereign bonds, or maybe commercial papers, which will give us guaranteed returns. And 50% of that amount I will invest into equity. So there is a balanced approach into those funds. So these are hybrid funds, and there are various types of hybrid funds available. There are funds of funds also available into the market. So hybrid fund comes with a medium risk and medium return. Why the risk is medium? Because some portion of that fund goes into investment behind the government securities, which gives us a fixed return. Whereas we all know that equity fluctuates. There are no guaranteed returns into equity, but in government bonds there are stipulated fixed returns. The returns are lower, and to have a major push, there is a composition of equity funds as well. So this is what the hybrid mutual fund is all about. Then there are corporate bonds, which are available into the market. So there are various companies. There are various company that comes with their bonds. Certain bonds now there are various ratings available with bonds. So, for example, there is a company called Tata Motors, right? So they will come with their bond, or Tata Infrastructure. They will come with their bond. They will put into the public, and they will say, "You invest into our bonds. You keep the money for 5 years or 10 years, and we will give you this money. We'll give you the returns on that money." So these are the bonds available in the market. Generally, these bonds they do have good returns, but there is no sovereign guarantee on these bonds. So it is not being regulated by any sovereign guarantee, guarantee by Government of India. So would be liable only to the value of that bond. So at least it is slightly a riskier, and people do invest into corporate bonds to get good amount of returns in medium to short term. So let's come to the third quadrant, which is a low risk but a low return product as well. So there are various instruments available, like insurance products, which are traditional products, which are money back plan, where you invest into an insurance product. It will give you a guaranteed return over the period of some time, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and 30 years. There are certain products into insurance which is available for a whole life, that for the full life you will get a certain amount, guaranteed amount. So these are little low on returns, but they are very secure, right? Because they invest more into government securities, FDs, commercial papers, and certain those bonds which are very highly secured but gives little low return. Another investment options available to the public at large is PPF, which is Public Provident Fund, NSC, which is National Saving Certificates, and KVP, which is Kisan Vikas Patra, etc. These are again, for example, PPF. PPF is highly sovereign, guaranteed by the Government of India, and is one of the most secure instrument available, which gives tax-free returns. Public Provident Fund. National certificates are very much secure, and Kisan Vikas Patra are also instruments, are very secured and have certain sovereign guarantee behind their returns on the risk profile. There are various government bonds like NABARD bonds available, national rural bonds which are there, where again the returns are lower but guaranteed amount that will come. And then there are liquid mutual fund. I'm not sure that many of you would have heard about liquid mutual funds. So liquid mutual fund is something, one of the best replacement of fixed deposits. And these are now catching up very good heat in the last 7-8 years. These liquid mutual funds is exactly the same like what the modus operandi behind collecting the funds into the mutual fund and invest into a very highly secured framework of investment pattern. So just let me give you an example. What is the liquid mutual fund? So these are generally those funds which involves into call money or cash money transactions. Say, for example, what cash money and call money is. This is very important, for all of you to understand. Say, for example, there is one, say, bank, right? Say, for example, let me say there's a bank, SDFC Bank. In one day, there is a huge, in one of the branch of SDFC, suppose a high amount of redemption comes, a high withdrawal of one customer comes and he asks to the bank that today I want a lot of my cash to be withdrawn from the branch. So there are certain times where one particular branch of the bank sees a lot of cash withdrawals and they are short of cash to give to their customer, because majority of the money are into the online money, right? It's a virtual money that we have into our accounts. Into accounts, it's not a cash money, it's a virtual money. So to mitigate that gap of giving the cash to the customer, that branch of SDFC, say, takes or lend the money from, say, ICICI Bank for one day. So if there's a withdrawal of, say, 5 crore rupees in one branch, and that branch does not have 5 crore rupees to be given to that customer, so SDFC branch will ask a nearby ICC branch to please lend over 5 crore for one day because they have a withdrawal, and maybe the next day they will give the 5 crore back, right? So it is like a one day loan. So the interest that ICICI will charge from SDFC, right? This is what is known as call money transaction. So they will charge for one day interest on that 5 crore rupee. So these were the transactions, or these are the transactions which used to prevail into the market, and the rate of interest for that one day or 2 day loan was very higher at that point of the time. So to offset that high lending rates, mutual fund managers came into the market and they told to the retail investors that you give us the money, we will create a liquid fund where any bank can come or any corporate can come. They can take us loan for a shorter period, and they can pay us very nominal amount of interest on it. So the liquid fund maturity, lies between 15 days to 6 months to 1 year, because it's a very short term loans that banks or any company or corporate takes from liquid fund manager. So this is a very, very good and lucrative option of FDs, which is fixed deposits. Then comes to our next fourth quadrant, which is FD. FD is known as fixed deposits. We go to the bank, we give the money, and bank make the fixed deposits. It's no brainer. It comes with a very low risk, but also come with a low return. Same savings account. Everyone has the savings account, gives low return and have low risk. Gold. Now, many of you would think that how come gold is into low risk and low return? So gold, or I would say particularly, it oscillates between the four quadrants with the passage of time. Obviously, with the more horizon of the tenure of the investment, it gives good return. But for example, if we see from 2011 till 2018, gold have given almost flat return, like 0-1% return. But in last one and a half year, it has again given 5-6% return. So it oscillates their return, and hence we say that it's a gold. It comes into the low risk and low return, and then the returns are also taxable. So these are the various instruments available, which generally customers look out in the market to invest. Now, coming to the next is the time and return metrics. So you have heard me stating that, okay, these are the instrument that will give high risk, low risk, but what is the high risk and what is the low risk? So something which we talk about high risk and high return. So any instrument that will give you between 12 to 14% return of investment, which we known as ROI, return on investment, or the IRR. Finance student would know what IRR is, which is internal rate of return. So any product that gives you 12 to 14% of return is considered a very, very good and high return, but it comes with high risk. And to gain this much amount of return, person has to remain invested for at least 7 to 10 years. So if someone is investing into an equity or equity mutual fund, so it's not like that if you put today, say 1 lakh rupee, and after 1 month, it will become 14% with 1,14,000. No, it's not like that. To have a really compounded annual growth rate, CAGR, that what we say, you have to remain invested for at least 7 to 10 years into this instrument to have this amount of return. And then you have to regularly keep on investing. So then you can have 12 to 14% of return. The medium risk category are those products which gives around 9 to 11% of return. And again, the time horizon is between 7 to 10 years. Low risk return are those products that gives between 6 to 8% return. And the time horizon is again 8 to 12 years. So if you can recollect into our previous slide, what were the fund classes or the asset class that we have bifurcated into various quadrant. The fourth comes into expected returns, which is 4% to 6%, and the time horizon is 7 to 10 years. So this instrument gives you this matrix shows you the amount of return that you can expect from each asset class along with the time horizon. Now, someone will ask, okay, we know the amount of the instrument available to invest. We know the time horizon also, that how long we have to invest. We know the returns also, how much return we will get. But how much to invest where? How should I invest? So that we call it as age-wise asset allocation, which you will also keep on studying in your academics, that there's something which you call age-wise asset allocation. So someone who is between, say, age of 22 to 30, it is recommended that they should invest 80% of their amount into equity and about 20% into debt instruments, which is government securities, government bonds, those instruments which gives them certain guarantee. So there is low risk or maybe no risk. So why one should invest into 80% equity and 20% debt between age 22 to 30? Because this group of age have a lot of time for their fund to grow. So if I am, say, at the age of 22, if I have to invest at the age of 22, I have good amount of working life, my earning time, that I can keep on investing and can have 12 to 14% of return over the next 10 years. But someone, say, for example, at the age of, say, 41 to 50, it is recommended that that person should invest little bit less into a risky profile, which is 60% into equity and 40% into debt. Debt means government securities and government bonds. Similarly, someone who are like on a higher age group, maybe towards their retirement age or maybe senior citizen, it is advisable that they should decrease their equity component to a greater extent and increase their debt instruments investment on a higher side, so that there is less risk of losing the capital. So it is recommended someone who is between 51 to 60, 30% amount they should invest into equity instruments, and 70% that they should invest into debt instrument. If the age is higher, beyond 60, 65, 70, it is highly recommended that people should invest 5-10% into equity and more into those instruments like FDs, like into some insurance or into liquid funds, where their capital is saved. So at the time of need, their rate of return does not fluctuate and the capital remains safe. So this is what the asset-based allocation is all about. Moving forward to how now we'll come to the how part about it. So once you will say, okay, we know about investments, our instruments, products, returns, how people generally invest. So people generally go through a route of, or it is advisable to go through a route of portfolio management service, right? So one should opt for which is known as PMS service or a portfolio management service. What portfolio management service is all about? Here's a brief explanation. Portfolio management means investing money effectively through expert guidance to earn maximum return with minimum risk. So an expert will help customers to let them know. I know you can be an expert. I know once you get into your financial services profession, you can become an expert, and you can then guide your customers to invest, where to invest based on their risk profile, based on their age group, and the kind of goals that they have. So a portfolio management will help customers to meet their future financial goals as and when it comes. It has a proper liquidity when it needed. It gives optimum return with calibrated risk, because at the time of investing, one knows which instrument will give what return and it will how much riskier it is. With portfolio management, there's a diversification of investment. Why does diversification? Because someone is not parking the entire money into one basket. So the egg is laid into the different basket. So the risk is diversified, churning out low performing investments to a high performing one. A portfolio management services guy or the experienced person will churn out the investments from a lower giving products to a higher giving products with the passage of the time, as and when it is required. So this is what generally people offer. Now, if you may have to ask me that, show us certain examples of actual instruments available into those category. So just for example, I'm showing you to the next slide with a disclaimer in place that I don't have any personal holdings into these instruments. but this will give you a tentative idea about various companies that give different reasons. So my disclaimer is in place that no, I don't have any personal holdings. This is just for education and tutorial purposes. So, for example, there are good certain equity mutual funds which are available. An SBI small cap funds gives good amount of return. You can see with last 10 years they have given 22% return. Mira Asset, Canara, Nippon India Life, DSP. We have multi-cap funds. There are companies which give fantastic returns. There are equity large and mid-cap returns which are there, which gives good amount of returns. So these are average returns provided customer has remained invested. So these are practical instruments available that customer opt into the market in mutual fund category. Let me come to the next. Now these are best debt funds, which are the government securities that people generally opt into the mutual fund. For example, SDFC fund gives about 8.6%, ICICI has given 8.62%, Axis. These are there are short-term debt fund, there's a medium-term debt fund, there's a dynamic fund which has a little higher risk but gives higher return as well. So there's a bond market into the third table which gives little bit higher returns. So these are one of the best performing debt funds. These are post office investment options which are available, right? That a person can go to any post office and can invest there itself. So KVP is Kisan Vikas Patra. If you want to invest into KVP, you can go to your nearby post office. You can contact the postmaster or the post office manager who will help you invest into this. There's post office FD, if you're not aware of. There are FDs which are available, fixed deposit available into the banks. There are also FDs of post office. So you can go and you can make an FD into the post office, which will give you this amount of returns. There's a recurring deposit that you can invest into the post office. There's a post office monthly income scheme that you invest every month and you get return also every month through the post office. So this is again one of the most secure and a very widely network of post office that you can use across the India. India has one of the largest post office network in the world. So we all can have the benefit of the same. Last but not the least, you can see the FD rates. You can fix deposit. There are various banks that gives various returns. HDFC FDs. This is just I have populated again the disclaimer in place from my side. So HDFC gives this much return. So more or less the FD rates are similar because it is being regulated by the RBI. So more or less points are the basis points are similar. So, but FDs are always taxable. So the net return is again on a very lower side. So if an FD is giving you 5.5% return, but that 5.5% is taxable. So the net return, the net IRR becomes lesser. Right? Coming to the next slide, which is a very self-explanatory. What if, who, how. That means any questions, the time for Q&A. Kirti,
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. It is really a very informative webinar. Regarding questions, yes, sir. I have few questions from the students as well as from other my colleagues. One of the questions raised is, as we have discussed, sir, various types of investments, like you explained us equity related funds, debt funds, risk involved. So one of the question I have got is, which type of investments are best when we want profit in long term? Like, depending upon age, but what type of investments they should invest if they want a profit in the long term?
Sure. Very good question. And this is one of the most common question that customer or clients ask into the market as well. So the answer is mentioned into my previous slide. Let me root back you to the slide. So here is the answer. So if you really want to have a good return and in the long term, then the most sought after and the best option is equity, which is equity, either direct equity, stock market, or maybe mutual funds you can opt for, which will give you very good returns in the long term. And the definition of long term is minimum 7 to 10 years or even beyond 10 years. So if you keep on investing into equity regularly for 10 years, 15 years, this is one of the best option, particularly for people who are into the age bracket between 22 to maybe 35, 40, because they have a good time to cope up, to dispose their income regularly, to create a corpus in the long run. So thumbs up to equity. If you have an investment horizon or a waiting period horizon for 10 to 15 years, then equity is my answer.
Thank you, sir. One more question. There are some few questions. Another question is raised by one of my colleague, Rachna Shah. She has asked that in comparison, which is more safer, SIP or share market?
So compare which is more safer only out of these two?
Yes, sir.
SIP or directly stock market?
Directly stock market.
Let me just clarify what SIP is. So SIP is not an instrument. SIP is a method of investment, right? So obviously SIP is much more safer. If I have to directly answer without explaining, SIP is one of the most safer. Why SIP is safer? Because when you are investing through a systematic investment plan, what systematic investment plan is that you are investing every month into the stock market. Now stock market fluctuates, right? It's not stable. It always fluctuates. So when you keep on investing into different times, for example, you are investing on every 1st of the month or 5th of the month or 10th of the month, you decide one day, right? And on that particular date, through ECS, your money gets debited and gets invested into the fund. So on, say, for example, if I say 10th of every month, so on 10th of January, on 10th of Feb, on 10th of March, every month the amount will be debited and would be invested into the instrument. That means we are hitting the market every time and with a new market. So we are timing the market at this point of the time. So market might be up. So if the market is very up and if you are investing through SIP, we will get lower units. But when the market is down and we are investing also into that, we will get more units. So our returns would be average out in terms of SIP. Wherein if I directly invest into the stock market or into one-time mutual fund also, for example, today, if I am buying a share, if I have 1 lakh rupee, for example, I have 1,20,000 rupees to invest. So if I buy a particular stock of one company or maybe 10 companies today only, and I purchase the equity direct stock of all those companies today, I will get share price as what today. So I'm investing my 1,20,000 at today's price. After 1 year, that price might go up, it might go down as well. So I am at it's all probability of game. But if I'm putting 10,000 rupees every month and not investing 1,20,000 at one go, but 10,000 every month I'm putting, so I would be investing at a very new prices, maybe higher, maybe lower. So the benefit is both. So it will average out my risk. This is known as, in financial term, this is known as cost of averaging or rupee cost of averaging. Right. So obviously SIP is very much safer, or is safer than compared to directly invested in one time. Hope I answered the question.
Yes. Sir, one more question we have. The question is raised by another colleague of mine, Surpal sir, that if we talk about investment in debt, right? So we say that we should invest in FDs or KVPs, right, sir? So now if we invest directly to debt, is it more safer and reliable? And when via mutual fund when we are investing, or via insurance when they say they invest in the debt fund? So how this bifurcation is to be understood? Which is better? Direct investment into debt, will it give a more return, or this via mutual fund into debt?
Okay. See, it also depends upon your appetite. See, so the answer is, so there is no specific answer. It would be on very individual, because there is a element of taxation also, right? Because debt instruments attract a lot of tax. So debt instruments are not tax free, except PPF, which is known as Public Provident Fund, which is, there is EEE, exempt. At the time of investing, that's exempt from tax. Your returns are taxed, and your maturity also is also tax free. So it is exempt from tax. So if I have say 1 lakh rupee, and if I have to invest into FD, if I know that I want my return of FD in 1 year, I don't require that amount. I want an amount after 1 year, then I should go directly put into an FD through a bank, because I know that 1 lakh rupee will give me 1,05,000 rupees, only 5% return the next year, but that is also taxable. It's not tax free for me. So the return would be taxable. However, if I want to have a little low return, or maybe little higher return, but not very immediate, not like in 6 months or 1 year, 2 year, then it is advisable to go through a professional instrument, or a more systematic instrument like a debt fund, or maybe a very long term but a very guaranteed return product, which is an insurance. So why people invest into insurance despite of giving you low return? Because if you invest into an insurance product, it might give you 4.5 to 5% returns, or maybe 4% return, but that is guaranteed for the next 15 to 20 years. Wherein in fixed deposits are guaranteed only to the specific term of fixed deposit that you have taken. So if I want to invest a FD for 15 years, no bank is going to give me FD for 15 years, right? But I can go and opt for an insurance for 15 years that will give me slightly lower return, but a tax free, but it would be guaranteed for me for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, or maybe lifelong. So it depends upon your need, when you want that money. If you require money for 6 months, 1 year, go and opt for FD. If you require a stable income for 15, 20 years, go for like PPF, go for insurance, or maybe debt mutual funds. Hope I answered the question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you did. Sir, one more last question for you. Sir, what do you think during this pandemic or after, like we are at the end, we can say we have got vaccination. So, at this moment, what should be the investment pattern like? Some of the students are asking, like because of the pandemic, financial crisis were there. People were saying that yes, they faced a lot of financial crisis. So how to find the right kind of investment after this tenure, after this pandemic period?
Okay. This pandemic has made us learn a lot, and I would say that we had a fantastic 2020. In the pandemic, we all, and how I read is that because this pandemic has shown us the real ways of living, what we exactly need, what are the essential things for life purposes. So there has to be a capital guarantee. There has to be certain fixed income that we should have. So whether it's before pandemic or after pandemic, what we should always do is look for having a well calibrated asset allocation. Okay, where we should keep some portion aside for us, where we can use that, in times of emergency. We have seen in pandemic there were a lot of medical expenses for many people, and if they did not had medical insurance cover, the expenses are very high. So in whatever allocation, in whatever age you are into, you must invest there somewhere where your certain capital is remain guaranteed for a very long term. And but if you see, soon after this pandemic, since last 2-3 months, we have seen one of the best performance on the equity. Just 2 days ago, our stock market hit 50,000 mark for the first time, and there was a euphoria into it. The euphoria was so much that yesterday there were a lot of profit booking that happened, and the market tanked 700 points. So I believe that the times are really good for the equity and stock market, and for our country as well, to invest into open market equities, mutual fund. But having said that, we should not keep our eggs into one basket. We should separate it out and have our capital guaranteed somewhere, and some portion of the capital guaranteed. I hope that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So with this, I'd like to extend my gratitude of thank you to you. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing your valuable time with us, with our students, and with all of us. It was a pleasure having you, sir. And we hope we will conduct more and more webinars with you in future also. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Ketki. Thanks to you and your entire management. My best wishes to the students of Parul University for their bright future. Work hard, study hard, and have a very positive attitude towards life. That's what I would wish them. And definitely, Ketki, a lot of thanks to you. You have been also a very dedicated employee. I know you since last 10 years, and you have done very good into finance sector when you started. You have been a thorough banking professional as well. So people can approach you as well to gain more knowledge soon. Thank you for inviting me. It was pleasure interacting with all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I'll take your leave. Thank you. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.